was sitting there going, wow, this is incredible. And my dad grabs me and pulls me off the chair, and me and my brother ran for our lives, and the thing was blowing up, and there was smoke everywhere. So that's my only memory of Ascot. But yeah,
Ascot was a cool track.
Yeah, I miss all that, dude. And it's well, it is what it is. I mean, I was a Zusa, and I love the Zusa. And
did you ever race at La Mirada?
Never. I had nothing, man. What was?
It's funny because we used to ride our bicycles from the Santa Fe Dam when I raced for Norm's Bikes. It was me, all the Norm's riders, our parents, Ray Mendoza Sr. that owned a US BMX track. We used to ride the bike trail all the way down to La Mirada racetrack.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool.
Was it good? Was it a good track?
Oh, it was a very cool track.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
What I also remember was that you were in a class that was so stacked, dude. And I have a lot of sympathy for you because, I thought I had a stacked class with like Dave Wilson and, like I said, Mike Attardi and all the Clark brothers and all these other guys. But you were on the gate with some monsters, even though they were little kids, obviously.
Yeah.
They grew up to be monsters in the sport.
Yeah.
Can you tell some of the guys that are watching who exactly you had to race? Because your competition was much more stacked than mine.
Jason Donnell, Mike Luna, Rob Del Pozo. I don't remember if any of the Ainsworths were in our class. Mark Copsey, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Krupe. Let's see, who else? That was about it. Randy Stumphauser that just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, but that was later years.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for young kids, we had a tough class. We definitely had a tough class.
So you had Luna too, right? And Del Pozo.
Yeah. Chris Schoonover, he raced for Lightning Express, which he later on became a team manager, I guess a couple years ago for SE, or maybe 15 years ago or something. But yeah, we had a tough class.
And Schofield, right?
Schofield was a year older than us.
Okay.
But just Jason Donnell, Mikey Luna, Inhee Lee, we had a stacked class.
Who was the one that you didn't want to mess with? Like, was there anybody that you didn't really like to race, or it was all the same?
Fortunately, our class we were all very clean racers. We weren't dirty. You either won or you lost. And some kids in our class, we won't say their name, they were poor sports.
Okay.
But for the majority of us, we weren't poor sports. If we didn't win, I can't think of any parent, because back then, it was a different time. Back in the 80s and stuff, like someone in your class, their dad could, act like your dad when your dad wasn't around or whatever, vice versa, that's just the way life was back then, where now it's a lot different.
Yeah.
But I can't think of any parent or sponsor that I ever had that was like, would grill you if you lost, They were just like, I was fortunate enough that I didn't have, sponsors that were on it about winning. Of course they wanted you to win because you're representing them, but they didn't like rule you with the iron fist. Like, if you don't win, we're cutting you this next race or whatever, It was cool. And we just tried to keep each other going,
So you mentioned something about sponsors. Now, I know that you raced for the TV star Larry Wilcox at one point, right?
I did. That was after JMC.
So why don't you take some of the other guys that are watching through who you raced for? Because I always like to brag, I used to race for Maine Bikes, man. I'm cool. And then other guys go, well, no, you're really not that cool, bro. I raced for a bunch of different people. Who did you race for back in the day? Maybe you could lay it out.
So right here is my first ever jersey from a Zusa Bike and Moped when I was 5 years old.
Nice.
And Hank Van Ofen and his wife Erin ran the shop, and they later on became the distributor for muscle powered, drinks at the races and stuff. And then I rode for Norm's Bike Shop in Baldwin Park. They were always good to me. My dad and Norm had a very good relationship, and they were all about building.
Who was on Norm's with you? I mean, they had a big team.
Oh, it was me, Aaron Newton, Amy Newton, Mario Montez, Rick Montez was his dad, Rick Ramirez, Ruben Ramirez.
Okay.
We had a big team,
Maybe
And
sometimes I get Norm's and Ralph's bikes mixed up.
yes.
They had similar logos, right? Similar jerseys and stuff, or no?
No, the colors were kind of the same. They were all blue, white, and yellow.
Okay, all right. Okay. So you were on Norm, or you were on wait, which one were you on?
Norm.
Norms. So you're on Norms, and then how?
In Baldwin Park.
There.
After that's when I got my first sponsor was JMC.
Wow.
That was a great sponsor, And then after JMC, I raced for Larry Wilcox. And then when Larry Wilcox got out of it, I raced for a company called Spectra Vista Records, which was they used to, I don't know if you remember the guy Pat Boone.
Yeah.
He was like one of the people that they endorsed or whatever. They made his records or whatever. But the guy's name was Bob Sheets that ran that team. And then after that, I didn't really have a sponsor. It was, Team Mom and Dad and Pie Plates. And then after that, at the end of my career, I finally got sponsored by Hustler, by Ralph's.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were on both Ralph's and Norm's, just a different.
Well, I was on Hustler, which was Ralph's, team. Ralph had his bike shop team, and he had Hustler bicycles.
Okay.
Hustler.
Mike Miranda just posted a picture of a Hustler ad or something on his Facebook page. I don't know. I don't know much about Hustler. Were they back in the 80s, or was that like a 90s brand?
They were in the 70s and 80s.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that for some reason. So you were full factory JMC then, or were you co-factory?
Yes. No, I was full factory.
I got to tell you, I know that you're tight with Andy. You can pass on to him, like, JMC not only made the cleanest and most beautiful bikes, in my personal opinion, that ever existed, but the Andy Patterson is by far the most beautiful bike frame that was ever made. I mean, that is the most beautiful bike I've ever had and I've ever seen. I won on that frame so much. So I know I whenever I make a video and I put the name JMC in the description,
yeah.
I get like 100 times more views because that's how many people. That's the reverence that everybody gives JMC in the thing. And did you feel that reverence when you were on JMC, or was it just like another team to you?
I loved it, and Jim was a very, very humble man, and like he was just the best. He gave us local kids a chance to become something in the sport. If he seen talent in you, he would invest his time in you.
Oh man,
Were
you around when he had his bike shop, or did he already get rid of the bike shop and then you found him when he was on Irwindale Road?
I found him when he was on Irwindale Road. Well, my dad did. And see, I first started racing for JMC was like, I want to say February of '84, and then they closed their doors in '85.
Okay.
So it wasn't a long period, but it was a great period.
Dude, yeah, I can. That picture that I've been showing on Facebook, are you in a JMC uniform, or what are you wearing?
Yes, that's a JMC uniform, and I was racing